Environment Canterbury is welcoming the Minister for the Environment's review of air quality standards.
ECAN's air quality review focuses on particles produced during the burning of solid fuel. These particles make up around 80% of winter air pollution in Canterbury.
Well, I think the review is quite timely because I've always gone tick-tock, the clock is ticking. And we've had these standards, 2013. And in Canterbury, our community has been really resilient in responding to what that actually means. And so what I've always found is quite difficult or palatable for the community is that, which was domestic heating, which was causing the problem. If they hadn't met these exceedant levels by 2030, it would be industry that would be punished by us not being able to issue these resource consents.
A national standard has been set for 2013, and ECAN has taken many steps to ensure that Canterbury reaches that target.
Well, ECAN's been working for a number of years to improve the air quality in Christchurch. There has been a lot of demand to have the air cleaned, and we've had programs in place, the Clean Heat project in particular, to assist residents with conversion to clean heat, away from open fires and old log burners.
With help from ECAN, around 14,000 households have made the switch to clean heat and better insulation.
There is still this mismatch about people thinking that they can adequately heat their home by an open fire. It's just irrefutable. That is not a good way when 80% of it goes up the chimney. So I think that we've come a long way now, and we actually have to start thinking about we need to get to these standards.
Starting next winter, new clean heat rules will be implemented for all Canterbury homeowners and businesses.
The rules from next winter is because Christchurch has had a lot longer lead-in time to these with their programs. From next year that they will not be able to use these open fires or these non-compliant buildings. We've had a huge interest on now what that actually means in getting people onto the list and get them to make those conversions, and we will actually have to start actually thinking about enforcing how that happens.
ECAN is planning to continue with helping the community reach the 2013 clean air standards.
So I think now we're going to piggyback on top of both the government's announcements, the new energy emission, and work together on making sure our community knows that they can get into these funds.
A local secondary school student is raising awareness for child soldiers as part of Amnesty International's annual Freedom Challenge.
Well, the Freedom Challenge is like a team challenge for student and youth groups in New Zealand to take action for human rights, so around the world. Each year it focuses on a particular campaign, and this year's focus is children in conflict.
Rachel is not only organising Freedom Challenge events within Avonside High School, but has also coordinated other Christchurch schools to get involved.
Well, my role at the moment is I'm student coordinator of the Avonside Girls High School group, and I'm also currently spokesperson for the Christchurch area, so all the events and stuff that are going on for Freedom Challenge.
This year's theme is Kids Against Camouflage, keeping children out of conflict.
Well, basically it's really hard to do a campaign to involve all the child soldiers around the world, so just you've got to start small to win big type thing. So we're starting on 3 areas where we see major problems with the use of child soldiers. So there's, for example, in I think it's Colombia, there are guerrilla forces using child soldiers, and also the government's using them as well, and they're just putting them into the conflict area, and it's pretty much destroying their lives by making them do stuff that we would never think of doing, or we would think is completely horrific, but they begin to think of it as normal.
The Christchurch Amnesty events are taking place this weekend, and those participating are asked to come in camouflage.
I've organised an event at Victoria Square this Saturday on the 8th of August, and this is just practically a demonstration to show people what child soldiers are and how they are treated, and also just to have a bit of fun activities to fundraise and also to get people more interested in what we're doing. So for example, we're going to have a dunking machine there, so people are going to be able to get dunked to prevent the use of child soldiers, and free face painting, and we're also going to have a photo shoot of people spelling the letters STC, so Save the Children.
Aranui High School is celebrating the numerous awards its theatre group won at the New Zealand Theatre Federation's South Island Festival over the weekend. And one pupil in particular, Rawiri Maniapoto, has more to celebrate than some.
Productions basically A Midsummer Night's Dream, and it's I'm a fairy king, and Amanda, who plays Titania, is a fairy queen, and she has a young Indian boy that I'm trying to steal in.
Ra, playing Oberon in his debut performance, won Best Actor award, while the entire Midsummer's Night cast won Best Overall Production.
I was expecting that we'll do well, but man, I didn't think we'll take it out overall. I mean, they see that Best Youth, and it didn't go to us, and we're like, oh, man, what's happened? Something's wrong here. But yeah, we ended up taking it out overall, and it's quite cool actually.
Ra and his castmates may have had to sacrifice some of their free time, but it all paid off in the end.
Oh, a lot of time, I guess. A lot of hard work, because like Mr. Gilbert always tells us, it doesn't come, comes naturally, but you have to put in the hard work to get to a stage where we are. And I think all the hard work's paid off.
Ra's drama teacher and the show's director believes Ra's talents on and off the stage will remain shining.
Well, I don't try and place my expectations on the students. I think Ra is discovering that he's got a talent that others can see. I think it's great for him. I think Ra's also got a wide world available to him. He's a fine athlete, and he also has interests in tourism and travel. So I think Ra's at a bit of a crossroads. He's in his last year at school, so he's got to make some choices. But certainly he's got a talent for the stage.
Cute, fluffy and cheeky. What more could a kid want for their school holiday entertainment?
Arana Wildlife Park has a new display this month. Cheetah cubs. 4 3-month-old baby cheetahs were born at Arana and made their debut last week when they were released onto their new habitat.
We've had them on display for a week, but it wasn't official until the other day, mostly because we couldn't guarantee that they'd be out. They were still getting used to new enclosure, new environment.
The cheetahs require less and less care as they begin to develop, but still rely on their loving caretakers to keep them clean.
Basically, we're still on clean-up duty. They're like having little toddlers, so you can imagine we're still having to pick up their poo and feed them their food, and they still have the odd bottle, don't you?
The cubs follow a loose daily schedule consisting of eating, sleeping and playing.
Yeah, so it starts at 7 o'clock in the morning, we go on poo duty. Once that's done, we start cleaning up and they start running around like little woolies. Then we start preparing their food, give them their first feed of the day around about 8 o'clock, and then we let them out for the day to have a play, and they basically play and play and play until they get too tired. They get their feeds in between.
Although the cubs share the same DNA, they each have their own distinctive personalities and habits.
We've got little Maz, the one who was on my lap before. She can be a real sook, but for the most part she's very, very inquisitive, so she's always the first one up to the glass. She's a bit of a show pony. She does go up there when nobody else is out to say hi to the public. It's almost like she feels sorry for them. Then you've got Kinjuka, who we often call the little flea, because he's always with Maz running around biting somebody, and if anyone's resting he will attack. You've got Kango. He's a bit of a bully, but he tends to be a bit quieter. At the moment he's got a sore leg, so he's hamming that up big time. And then Shamari, he tends to be quite standoffish. He's quite cranky looking, but he's actually the sook of the group, so he's still mummy's boy.
The cheetahs have gotten a grand response from the Christchurch community, who can't get enough of the 3-month-old cats.
The public have been absolutely awesome. We've got a Facebook page, so people are forever typing in and asking questions, and we get questions all the time, even when they weren't on display. So public have been absolutely awesome. You get the odd person who pushes the boundaries, but most people are respecting their space, which is really good. But yeah, they'd love to see more of them. The only thing is they're little cheetahs, and just like little kids, they can run amok all morning and then be absolutely exhausted, need a midday nap. And we can't make them come out if they don't want to come out.
The South Island's only chimpanzees are about to leave town for good. The animals have been living at Willowbank Wildlife Reserve for over 20 years, but tomorrow are being moved to Australia.
They've got a brand new facility that's been built for them and purpose-built for them. So I would think it's probably warmer weather and a bigger area to live in is where they're heading.
Their new home is at the Mogo Zoo near Sydney, where they'll enjoy the warmer climate.
The temperature over there is warmer. It's pretty cold today, as you can feel, so our winters are just too cold for these guys now, particularly Charlie getting older.
The father and daughter pair have been at Willowbank since 1985.
Well, Samantha's in her early 20s and Charlie's, he's sort of 40-odd. We're not sure of his exact age because he was a wild caught chimp, so he's getting on a bit.
Because of the pair's genetic makeup, the chimps are invaluable.
Well, they probably will become a part of a breeding program. Charlie in particular is very important because of his genetics, because he was a wild caught chimp and he's not related to any other chimps in captivity as far as we know. And Samantha being his daughter, she's probably quite valuable as well in terms of that gene pool. So they're definitely going to become part of a breeding program if all things go well.
Once the chimps have gone, there'll be no more chimpanzees in the South Island.
It's a big undertaking looking after chimpanzees, and the sort of facilities that they should be housed in now, it's not really as acceptable as it once was to keep animals in smaller enclosures.
The chimps will fly out of Christchurch tomorrow, early afternoon.
Papanui Community Watch has received a generous donation, meaning the important work they can do can be stepped up a notch.
First Direct Taxis has donated a new patrol car to the Papanui Crime Watch in memory of former friend and Crime Watch patron John Jackman.
This car was donated by John Jackman. He was our first patron, and when he died, his wife took over. And John was involved in a lot of things, especially in the community in regard to working for the City Council in regard to urban traffic and all that. So his interest was always in traffic control.
Pam Jackman has since taken over her husband's patron spot and is one of nearly 80 volunteers who help with Crime Watch.
I think it's a hugely generous donation from First Direct and from Pam Jackman. We rely on the police to keep our communities safe, but there are things that we can do to help the police, and that's what Community Watch is about. People like John Burke, who for years have been working away out in the community, making a difference by being the eyes and the ears of the police. Pam's donation today, really important. This is one car that the Minister of Police can't take back. We know that the police sadly are losing more than 300 cars in the cost cutting that's occurring, but this donation by First Direct, by Pam Jackman, is something that will be held by the Community Watch and will be secure out there helping the police to do the job that they do on our behalf.
Crime Watch has had great success reducing the amount of crime, crashes, and fires in their patrol area. Crime Watch will use the well-needed car to continue to work alongside the police.
We use the Papanui Crime Watch for a lot of tasks that we otherwise wouldn't be able to get to. Quite simply, we're busy responding to events, calls from members of the public for service, and a lot of our day-to-day routine patrolling has to take a back seat to that. What the Papanui Crime Watch are very good at is filling those gaps. And they go to places such as schools, public areas, and show the flag really for police at times where we find it difficult to get to. And that high visibility policing is fantastic at reducing crime.
The songwriting workshop hosted by the Jazz School let Dave share his musical journey from his time with the Dudes right up to the present.
Songwriting wise, it really encouraged me to leave time. Like Dave talked about, sometimes if you've got a song, a chorus, and it's really good and some chords, but you can't think of a verse that really works, it's okay just to leave it and come back to it in a couple of years. He was talking about 7 or 8 years. That was a great bit of advice, just songs you have to wait to write themselves.
Not only did Dobbin give personal advice and perform some of the songs that made him the musician he is today, he also gave the students a chance to get involved.
It was awesome, the opportunity to play with someone who is one of New Zealand's premier songwriters is just something amazing. It's because I'm a songwriter myself, and he's someone that I've idolised for a long time, and it was like playing with your hero. Is pretty amazing.
Many young musicians joined Dave and his band on stage, playing along on the drums, bass or guitar, while others got a chance to step up to the mic and sing along to well-known tunes such as Naked Truth, Slice of Heaven and Loyal.
The thing I got the most was that to be successful, it's not so much about what you're playing and what, you know, sometimes it's not about the musical side, it's more about the passion. Like Dave has this overwhelming sort of passion for music, and it comes out in everything he says, and then just the very essence of the man is just like, you know, you can tell that everything he is rooted in music, and it really shows, and that's what connects people. I think his ability to convey emotions through music and passion.
There is no doubt that there is great musical talent right here in Christchurch, and with some help from a Kiwi great, we might be seeing some of them in the limelight in the near future. The Christchurch City Library's annual Matariki celebrations are well underway, celebrating Māori New Year.
Historically, it is around the Māori New Year and the fact that the Māori would be using this time to store their food and resources and take rest and plan ahead for the new year. So opportunity to share with each other, celebrate, learn together. The weavers would come out, and there would be also some traditional knowledge shared at that time.
Matariki celebrations are taking place throughout June, with numerous amounts of activities available to the public.
This month we celebrate in a number. Most of the libraries have our storytime sessions with our children's in the mornings, and that's across most of the libraries, and as part of that storytelling they're doing the weaving of the stars, which is around the Pleiades that is associated with Matariki.
In addition to storytelling and food bank collection, the Central Library will be conducting several whakapapa research sessions.
As part of a more intellectual sort of focus, we are looking at our whakapapa, and so towards the end of June, our staff from the Aotearoa New Zealand Centre will be running some whakapapa sessions, which will also extend into early July as well.
The library staff are constructing contemporary tuku-tuku panels to be used in their upcoming 150th year anniversary celebrations.
The panels, one of our staff and the arts advisor down at council came up with the idea of doing the tuku-tuku panels and using contemporary materials, which makes it a lot easier because when you use the traditional materials you actually have to harvest and prepare the harakiki flax a couple of years in advance.
For additional information, you can pick up a schedule of events at your closest library or visit christchurchcitylibraries.com.
A local community theatre is looking to get a much needed makeover, and they're calling on the community for support.
The Repertory Theatre has been producing amateur shows for nearly 60 years, but the 430-seat theatre is now focused on getting a much-awaited makeover, and they are looking for help from the Christchurch community as well as the council.
The cost has been targeted at in round figures 5.2 million. We're intending to approach council for 2.25 million. We're hoping that government would perhaps support that with a similar figure, and then of course with various private funders and public appealing, the balance we are hoping will come, because there will obviously be naming rights available possibly for the theatre.
Plans have already been drafted for a complete renovation.
Well, basically the whole theatre will be redone. Starting at the front, there is earthquake strengthening required with the building, and particularly the front wall. So starting from the front, there'll be the new foyer downstairs, pushing into the existing theatre a few metres, so that we have a much better foyer, much easier for people to enjoy pre-theatre, and a new foyer upstairs, an upstairs foyer that will actually be able to be used for perhaps functions as well.
Included in the renovations plans are new and additional seating, as well as a larger, more accommodating stage.
The timelines we did have in mind were that the theatre would close at the end of this year and the building would start early in the new year, of course. But it's all dependent, of course, on funding being achieved in the next month to get it underway. But we're still working with that in mind.
Renovations would be expected to take 6 to 7 months to complete if Repertory receives the support they are hoping for. They will plan to reopen August the 1st of next year in a newly renovated and stunning theatre.
Trees for Canterbury is an initiative which has been doing great work in our region for nearly 20 years, but the new curbside recycling program is making that work a little harder.
Trees, growing in meadow fresh milk cartons. They've been a common sight around Canterbury for over 15 years.
Well, Trees for Canterbury, we work with unemployed, intellectually, physically, socially disadvantaged. In a nursery environment, we only grow native plants, and the aim of growing the native plants is to distribute as many as we can to the public through community plantings and community giveaways.
But the Christchurch City Council's efficiency when it comes to recycling and rubbish collection may force this local initiative to re-evaluate its practices.
The biggest problem we've had in years actually is, of course, always lack of money, but the biggest problem we have is milk cartons. We've recycled the Tetra Pak 1 litre milk cartons like this for the past 18 years, and with the new curbside recycling, we don't get them anymore.
This year, Trees for Canterbury will plant its 600,000th native plant, not far off their goal of 1 million.
Canterbury has actually less than 10% of its natural vegetation left, and people put it down as low as 2%, which is really bad by world standards. And so our chairperson today, Dr. Tim Jenkins, he had the idea of starting a small nursery and getting plants out there, and we've just expanded on that theme and grown to the point where we now distribute up to 45,000 plants per year at no cost to the community from the nursery. And we try and fund ourselves as much as possible through plant sales at the nursery as well.
But now they need your help. Trees for Canterbury need milk cartons urgently.
Well, we've still got giant 1 litre milk containers at each of the transfer stations, metro refuse stations. So what we're hoping is people will collect their cartons until they've got a few. Of course, rinse them out first, otherwise they get a bit smelly. And then drop them down to either the metro refuse stations into the recycling areas, or even bring them to the nursery at 42 Charlesworth Street.
The trio, consisting of Anita Huang on the harp, William Frost on the flute and Kate Oswin on the viola, are no strangers to practice, preparation and hard work when it comes to music. And these three worked hard for their first place win on Saturday.
Well, coming up to it, we started rehearsing a lot more, like just about every single day. Yeah, but...
We've been rehearsing the whole thing since about April.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of months' work leading up to it.
Mm-hmm.
The trio got a chance to speak with Leor Novak, the Israeli composer of their selected work, Veiled Echoes.
It was through Skype, although it kind of didn't work out because I think it was like peak hour or something where everyone went on Skype and everyone was just talking, and then he was receiving all our playing 7 seconds later or something like that. So in the end he actually rang us from Skype to our school phone, I think. School phone, yeah, and it was really interesting.
Novak was able to give the group tips and feedback on their upcoming performance.
Yeah, because in the music there's actually a lot of tempo changes. Like every bar there's something different, and it was kind of hard to, have your own interpretation on it. I mean, we worked on it tons, and our tutor Helen helped us a lot. But in the end, he just, he was like, oh no, this bit's wrong, I want it like this, I wrote it wrong. It was really good.
The Waldkin Trio was one of 8 finalist ensembles to perform at the contest's national final. And although there was quite a crowd, they confess they weren't that nervous.
Leading up to it, didn't really feel like it, because we had a long break over the school holidays between the Christchurch competition and the final. But yeah, it didn't really hit till the day. And then you go there at night and it's like, we're going to play now. But then you go on stage and it's just like, you're so relaxed. And it's,
throughout the
really
day,
confident with it, yeah.
Throughout the day you get kind of nervous, but then it gets to the point where you're about to go on stage and then the excitement takes over and you just play. So.
After the break, your weather forecast for this weekend. Welcome back. Your weekend weather forecast is brought to you today from a picturesque location.
Well, it's certainly been a beautiful day for a long lunch along Oxford Terrace, or perhaps a picnic down by the Avon River. Let's find out how our weather is shaping up for the weekend. Fine weather for your region today with a light northwesterly airflow over the South Island as an anticyclone canvasses the North Island. Now looking forward to tomorrow at Timaru. A fine and sunny day ahead, and if you've got plans for a picnic at Caroline Bay, you can keep them with only light northeasterly winds to spoil an otherwise perfect South Canterbury day. Tonight's low is 0 and tomorrow's high 13. Ashburton, more of the same for you guys too, with plenty of sunshine and some patchy high cloud about, and an afternoon breeze straight off the sea. Tonight's low 0 and tomorrow's high 14. Darfield, plenty of sunshine about for you guys tomorrow too, with a light northerly breeze. Bit of Jack Frost about tonight though, with an overnight low of -1 and a high tomorrow of 14. Christchurch, a good day for Saturday sport with a fine and sunny day in store with light to moderate northeasterly winds and mild afternoon temperatures. Tonight's low 0 and tomorrow's high 13. Rangiora, mostly fine and sunny for your Saturday with patches of high cloud developing later on in the afternoon. Light to moderate northeasterly winds. Be chilly underfoot for any littlies playing early morning Saturday sport though, with an overnight low of -1 and a high tomorrow of 14. Hamner Springs, if you're planning a weekend trip to Hamner, you won't be disappointed. Nice and fine days in store with scattered high cloud during the afternoon and moderate northwesterly winds. Tonight's low -2 and tomorrow's high 13. Kaikoura, more of the same for you guys tomorrow with plenty of sunshine and patchy high cloud and an afternoon breeze that's going to come straight off the sea. Tonight's low 0 and tomorrow's high 13. Now looking ahead for Canterbury, remaining mostly fine and sunny on Sunday and Monday with light to moderate northeasterly winds and pleasant temperatures. It'll only be getting chilly during the evenings. Well, it looks like there'll be plenty more opportunities for long lunches in the sunshine and outdoor activities as the weekend weather looks superb.
Thanks, Annabelle. Well, that's it from us this week. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic weekend. I'm Jessica Horn, and that was Today in Canterbury.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.